Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing 3 looks with one palette using the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals eyeshadow palette, which I've been so in love with. A lot of you guys may have seen my review of it, and in that review I asked you if you would like to see more looks using the palette, and there have been so many comments on YouTube, and then I asked you on Instagram what types of looks you would like to see, and I got so many responses. So I'm going to try to deliver with each look as far as what you guys wanted to see. A lot of you wanted to see an everyday look. I'm also going to be doing a fall glam look that'll be perfect for this time of year, and if you have any holiday parties going on, things like that. And then so many of you guys said you wanted to see me do a look using the memory row, which is this one right here, which is honestly a little bit intimidating for me because I don't dip into grungy gunmetal or matte black shades too often. I keep things pretty light and airy over here on my channel, but I'm ready for the challenge, so that's what we're going to be doing today. In order to make sure this video isn't 3 hours long, I'm going to be focusing just on the eyes. Of course, I'm going to be choosing other products that are going to complement the eye look, which will all be listed and linked down below for you guys if you want to see how I completed each look. Okay, we're gonna start off with the everyday look. I've been playing with this palette for, gosh, a few days now, and I really feel like I'm more familiar with the formula, and there's something that I figured out with the sequin formula that I wanted to show you. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Eyeshadow Primer. I normally use the NARS primer, but I felt like this one was even more like subtle, a little bit better for every day. I'm just gonna take my finger and blend that out. This is literally the easiest look you will ever do in your life. All you need is literally 2 shades. I'm gonna start off with the sequin formula of the shade Soothe. And I'm gonna be honest, you guys, when I was playing with the sequin formulas the other day, I kind of got a little bit frustrated at first because it's a matte formula with glitter inside. When you swatch it, it's beautiful, but if you use a brush and you just leave it as is and you try to buff it on the eyes, the glitter falls away and you're left with more of like a matte shade with some scattered glitter. I wanted to keep the glitter in the formula, but I also didn't want to just use my finger and press it on because I also felt like that kind of made the glitter flecks fall down. So I figured out the most fabulous way to use this formula, especially for every day. I am obsessed with this. So what I've been doing is I've been taking a bit of this shadow on a brush, and I'm not tapping off the extra, and I'm taking some MAC Fix Plus. I'm just gonna wet the brush a little bit, and then I didn't powder the eyelid. I have found that this works a little bit better on top of just like an eyeshadow primer or even the bare lid if you don't have an eyeshadow primer. But I take it and I start to kind of brush it on the eyelid, and you'll see that it looks like almost a cream eyeshadow. And what I've been loving about this is the glitter doesn't go anywhere. It actually sticks really beautifully to the lid. For this everyday look, I'm just gonna go ahead and pat this all over the entire eyelid. I'm stopping at the crease, and I know it looks a little messy at first, but just bear with me, things will come together in a second. Hopefully you can see this on camera. It's a beautiful kind of camel brown color, but now you still get the gold shimmer, which I feel like is a perfect way to kind of amp up your everyday look. If you're somebody who doesn't want to wear shimmers or glitter at all, you could totally do this same exact thing using the matte shade, and in that case you probably wouldn't have to wet the brush. You could just go ahead and buff it on the lid. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the other eye. I just wet the brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and start to kind of press this. I'm not really buffing because, again, the goal here is to make sure that those really pretty golden glitter flecks stay exactly where I want them. So I'm really just pressing this on the lid and really making sure that it sticks to the eyeshadow primer that I have underneath. After the first eyeshadow is laid down in the general area that I want it to be, then I'm going to take a fluffier brush, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of the shade right underneath, which is the matte formula of Soothe. I'm going to tap off the extra because this one is really pigmented, and I'm just going to use this to buff out the edges. The nice part is it's basically the same color underneath, so it's going to help blend this really, really nicely. I'm not dipping back into the pan. I'm just wanting to use this to really buff out the edges and to make sure that there's no harsh lines. I'm also making sure to blend it out toward the edge here. And when there's less product on the brush, I do like to bring it into this area here as well. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this eye. This brow was bothering me, so I'm just filling it in a little bit more. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, that's literally it for the top lash line. Since we did do our eyes first, I'm just wanting to make sure that there's no extreme fallout. There really isn't though, because we wet the brush and we also used an eyeshadow primer, so I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the base, and then I'll be right back to show you how I like to finish up the lower lash line and the inner corner. All right, I'm back with the complexion done. I also even did bronzer, blush, and highlighter as well. Again, everything will be listed and linked down below if you wanna know exactly what I used. I'm gonna show you how to finish up the eyes, and then I'll show you the lip that I'm gonna use. For the lower lash line, I'm only gonna take the shade Soothe. Again, you only need the tiniest bit of this, and I just feel like for the lower lash line, I don't really need too much sparkle, especially for every day. There is a little element of glamour on the top lid, but I'm okay keeping the lower lash line really simple. So I'm just gonna start by blending that super close to the lower lash line. And then as less product gets on the brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and buff that a little bit lower. And I also make sure to connect it to the edges on the outer corner. I think this looks so pretty on the lower lash line. It gives definition, but it's definitely really subtle. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. You could obviously create an all matte look using the bottom row of this palette if that's something that's more your speed for an everyday type of situation. But on Instagram, so many people said they wanted to see an everyday glam. So this is my take on something that's easy. You only need 2 shades. Well, 3 shades including the inner corner, but it's so easy to achieve and it looks a little bit more done up than just your basic like matte everyday look. I'm just taking the other side of this brush that has no product on it and I'm just making sure that everything is blended the way I want it to be. For the inner corner, I'm going to take the Aura shade. Sorry about my nail, by the way. I just realized that's the one that I usually use to point to shades with. Okay, we're going to use this shade right here, which is perfect for the inner corner. And I'm going to go ahead and just brighten up the inner corner with that. And I'm going to take what's left on the brush and apply it right underneath the brow, blending it into the existing shadows in this area here. I'm going to go back in with that clean brush and just make sure that everything is blended up into the brow bone. Okay, if you're somebody who uses eyeliner on a daily basis, now would be the time to do so. I personally don't. I keep things pretty simple for everyday looks, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop on mascara on the top and bottom lashes, and then we'll finish up with the lip color. Well, we had an unfortunate incident during the mascara application. I'm going to leave it to dry completely. So I'm going to look a little crazy for a couple of seconds. While we wait for that big blob to dry, I'm going to go ahead and dust away any splotches of mascara on the lower lash line. I'm going to try to speed up the drying process here with my fan. Okay, I'm going to take my little powder brush. Aha! I just scraped that off. Amazing. That's the beauty about this mascara. It's actually a tubing mascara. So when it dries, it kind of has a rubbery feel to it, which sounds kind of strange, but it's actually great for if you get it on your face. That was actually magical. I'm very impressed. All right, for lips, when I thought about this look, I immediately thought of this lip product because it's both glam and everyday in my opinion. It's the L'Oreal Color Riche Shine Lipstick in the shade Glossy Fawn. This is such a go-to for me. It's amazing for every day, but you can also use it for glam looks. And so I feel like this is just the perfect thing for this look. I do like to take my finger and kind of press this lip color in a little bit. I just feel like that helps kind of take out the extra product that might have settled in the lip lines. All right, I'm gonna spray the face. Woo! Let it dry. And there you have it. That completes this first everyday glam makeup look. It is a little bit more on the glam side, but I only used 2 shades on the lid, which is crazy. And I feel like it turned out so pretty and it's so wearable. This would also match any sort of outfit you're trying to wear. This is great for school and work and just perfect for every day in my opinion. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first look. Let's move on to a little bit more of a glam look, which is something that would be perfect for more of an evening occasion, or if you're somebody who's just extra every single day, this would also work for you as well. We're gonna stick to the browns and I'm excited. So let's go into the next look. All right, let's do the second look. I'm priming the eyes with my NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Primer. I'm just gonna blend that out with a brush and press it in with my finger. Okay, dipping back into the palette, we're gonna start off with the matte shade Aura. And I'm actually gonna start this off right underneath the brow bone, and I'm gonna kind of drag it down to a little bit above the crease. I just really want this area under the brow to look nice and precise. But we're gonna keep the shadows down here pretty dark, so I'm not gonna drag it down across the entire lid. Sometimes I do that as like a base, but for this look, we're just gonna keep it right underneath the brows to keep that nice and soft and clean. Next, we're gonna dip into this matte shade right here in the Soothe row. I'm taking the tiniest bit of this and tapping off the extra. And this is what I want to start building up in the crease and a little bit above as our transition shade. And since we already applied that matte Aura shade, it's gonna actually mix with it and create a little bit of a lighter tone as we move up toward the brow. So I'm just building this color up a little bit until it's as intense as I want. I don't want it too intense, but I do want a little bit of something toward the brow just so that when we apply those darker brown colors, it fades up and out nicely into these transition shadows up toward the brow. I forgot to tap off the extra on the brush on this eye, and you can already tell the intensity is a lot more. So I'm just gonna spend a minute blending this out so that I can match the same intensity on the other eye. Okay, I feel like that's a good starting point. Next, I'm actually gonna take the matte shade in the Story Row, which is a beautiful orange. I'm gonna make sure to tap off the extra on this as well. And we're gonna use this shade to start to deepen up the outer corner. I just dipped back into the pan a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna start to buff this on this outer corner here. And then as there's less product on the brush, I do want this color in the crease. So I'm kind of sweeping that back and forth into the crease. But again, I'm keeping most of the pigment on this outer corner here and then taking the extra through the crease to kind of warm things up. I feel like this color is so perfect for fall. I'm just gonna do the same thing on this eye. And I'm just going back and forth on each eye now, kind of building up a little bit more pigment on this outer portion here, and just making sure that the crease is nice and blended. Okay, I'm gonna leave things as is for now. We might come back to that color later. I'm gonna start to deepen things up a little bit with the shade Ritual, the matte formula, I guess, in the Ritual row. And I'm just gonna start to kind of layer this up, basically right along the lash line. And then once there's less on the brush, I'm taking this and kind of bringing it into the crease as well to start to deepen up that shape a little bit. And I'm doing the same thing on this eye. I really actually like how the matte brown and the matte orange blend together. It's really pretty. I'm taking the brush we were just using with the orange and I'm lightly dusting that over the brown just to blend everything. It's all about blending when it comes to eyeshadow. All right, we're gonna move up to the metallic row and I'm gonna take the Ritual metallic shade and I'm gonna take this on a flat brush and then I'm gonna spray the brush. And I'm gonna start to apply this on the outer portion of the lid right after the matte shades on this outer corner here. I'm starting right about here on the eyelid, just kind of blending that inward about halfway on the eyelid. Same thing on this eye. These metallics are wildly amazing when you spray the brush with some setting spray. They're really good on their own as well, but if you want just an extra pop, definitely spray the brush and you'll get just an intense metallic glow. It's so pretty. I'm gonna take that same brush actually, I'm just gonna flip it over. I've been dying to use this shade right here. This is the metallic formula in the Story Row. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm gonna pick that up on a brush and I'm gonna spray that with some Fix Plus. And with this one, we're gonna go ahead and go all the way to the inner corner and then blend it over where the bronze shade is on the lid about halfway across. And I'm kind of creating a subtle cut crease using the brush here. Look how gorgeous that shade is. It's so pretty. This one seems to have a little bit more like glitter in the metallic formula, which makes it so pretty and three-dimensional when you apply it on the eyelids. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this side, just building it up a little bit at a time and making sure to blend it into that bronze shade. Taking a bit more of the Story metallic and I'm just layering things up until I get the intensity that I want. I want to kind of stick with the more orange theme. So I'm going to take the glitter shade on the Story Row. Obviously, if you guys don't want to wear glitter, if this is something that you want to wear during the daytime, you can totally stop here. I have a little bit more of like a fall party in mind. So I'm just going to take the Story shade on my finger and I'm going to start to just lightly press that right over top of the Story metallic in this inner corner here. This glitter is so pretty because it has flecks of reddish orange and then you still have your golds in there. It's like the perfect glitter for fall. Oh my gosh, these glitters, you guys, they are seriously out of this world. I'm just taking what's left on my finger and kind of patting it on this eye. And then I'm gonna take my other finger and just get a little bit more on my finger and I'm gonna do the same thing on this eye. Okay, I'm gonna take the bronze glitter right here in the Ritual row and I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of this. These glitters are unbelievable and I'm just gonna go ahead and stamp this on the very edge just to kind of help the glitter shade blend into the darker brown on this outer corner. Same thing on this eye. This look is just asking for a little scoop. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the metallic shade in the Soothe row, this one right here, and I'm gonna start to just wrap that around this inner crease here. So it's not as bright as like the inner corner shade that I used before, but in certain light, it's going to kind of create that same effect. And I'm actually stopping right at the inner corner because I do want something a little bit brighter there, but I love this gold kind of inner crease highlight right here. Okay, I'm just gonna take a makeup wipe and clean up any fallout. Just like I noticed before, when I first reviewed this palette, there really is not fallout when it comes to the matte shades. So it's basically just the pressed glitters that you have to worry about if you use them. Oof, look how pretty that is. I love it. Okay, I'm going to actually apply some top lash mascara now. I just find that when I'm wearing glitter, I do my eyes first and I do my top lash mascara to help kind of catch any fallout while I'm doing the rest of my face. Okay, I really built up the mascara on the top lashes. I did about 3 coats. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing as the last tutorial. I'm gonna go ahead and do my complexion products, and then I'll show you how to finish up the lower lash line, and I'll show you the lip color that we're gonna go for. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, so everything is almost done. We're gonna go ahead and finish up the lower lash line, and then we're gonna do the lip color. I really wanted to use a gold eyeliner in the waterline. I just feel like when you look around, it's a nice touch, and also it's not too harsh. Like, it's a very subtle way to add a little bit more glamour to the eye look. So I'm just gonna sharpen this really quick. This is from Urban Decay. It's the 24/7 Glide On Pencil in the shade Gold Mine. And I'm just gonna go ahead and line the waterline with this. I just think a gold waterline just adds something a little bit more special. So let's dip back into the Tati Beauty palette. I'm actually gonna take a smaller brush and dip into the matte shade called Story. And I tapped off the extra off of the brush, and now I'm just going right along the lower lash line, right up against the lashes. I just really want a little bit more of an orange contrast on the lower lash line here. So I'm just gonna continue to kind of build that up. And then once there's less product on the brush, I'm just gonna continue to buff it even lower so that we have a nice, soft, diffused lower lash line using that color. And when I do the lower lash line, I always like to make sure I'm buffing the shadows up into the existing shadows on the top lid. Oh, we have some mascara there. But anyways, I always like to blend that up into the existing shadows on the corner. I'm gonna take a little bit more of a defined brush, and I'm gonna dip into this shade right here, which is the matte dark brown, and I'm gonna go ahead and actually kind of stamp that on this outer third of the lower lash line and then buff it a little bit underneath and then out toward the existing shades here. I want to keep that color on just the outer third though, so that we have the most definition on the outer portion and then it gets lighter as we move inward. Next, I'm going to take a small brush and I'm going to dip into the metallic shade in the Story row, so this one right here, and I'm just going to spray that with some Fix Plus. I'm going to start to apply this on the inner portion of the lower lash line. I just love this color, and I think it would be so pretty as kind of a focal point on the lower lash line. So I'm just dragging it about halfway across. And I'm doing the same thing on the other eye. I'm obsessed with this shade. It's so pretty. Okay, now that those are applied, I'm gonna actually take a little bit of this shade right here, the matte shade in the Soothe row. I'm gonna tap off the extra and I'm gonna kind of run this right underneath where we've applied everything, starting on the outer corner, because I want there to be kind of a transition shade on the lower lash line, just like we did on the top lid. Same thing over here. Ooh, I love this eye look. I think it's so perfect for fall. Okay, before we do lower lash mascara, I'm gonna hop into the Aura shade in the metallic row, and we're gonna use this to highlight the inner corner. I just think this is the most beautiful inner corner shade, and I'm making sure to blend that into the gold shade that we have in the inner crease here, and then also a little bit right here just to brighten that up a little bit. So I'm blending it into that orange metallic shade as well. Then I'm taking what's left on the brush and popping it right underneath the brow. Okay, I'm just gonna take the same mascara that we used before and pop that on the lower lashes. All right, for lips, I'm gonna take the MAC lip liner in the shade Spice, and I'm just gonna line and fill in the lips with this. Okay, and then once the lip liner is on, I'm gonna go ahead and make it look a little more beige with the Almay Lip Vibes lipstick in the shade Never Regret. This is like my favorite fall lipstick right now. So I'm just gonna build that up right over the lip liner, and then I'm gonna take my finger and blend it in. All right, you guys, that completes look number 2. This is perfect for fall. This would actually make a great look for Halloween coming up this week, or even Thanksgiving. I love the warm tones and the oranges in there, but also the dark browns to kind of round things off. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this second look. Let's go ahead and do the third look, which is gonna be a little bit more of a smoky eye using that, a little bit more of an intimidating row on the side, the memory row. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little intimidated right now, but I'm gonna move forward with confidence and we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and get started with the third and final makeup look. All right, let's go ahead and do the third and final look using these colors right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime the eyes the same way I just did using the NARS eyeshadow base. And I'm going to start it off the way that I started the last look that we did. I want to make sure that the brow bone area is nice and clean with the matte shade in the Aura row. So I'm going to do the same thing and just apply this right on top of the primer right here underneath the brows, and then I'm moving it about halfway down the crease of my eye. So if there's anything that I've learned when it comes to darker eye makeup looks, it's to always go from light to dark. You can always add more darker shades and you can deepen things up. It's not as easy to go the other way and try to lighten something that's already too dark. So I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Soothe, and I'm going to run this through the crease really lightly and a little bit above as our transition shade. I feel like it will be nice to have something a little bit warmer as the transition when we start to build up some of these gunmetal shades. I think I might try and attempt a halo eye with this. I don't know. I just feel like it could be really pretty. So I'm actually going to go into the gunmetal metallic shade right here in the memory row, which is what we're working with mainly today. And I'm going to take that on a brush and I'm going to start to apply this on the center of the lid. I'm going to spray the brush again. I just love how these metallics look when they're a little bit damp. You could also use your finger, but since this is more of a smoky eye, I do still want to have a little bit more control. So that's why I'm choosing to use a brush. But I'm starting that in the center of the lid and then kind of patting it and then working it upward and stopping right at the crease. And then once there's less on the brush, I'm kind of diffusing that along the edges here, kind of buffing it toward the outer corner and then also toward the inner corner here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on the other eye. And I'm making sure to really pack quite a bit of that metallic shade against the lash line so that when I open my eyes, you can really see that color right up against the lashes. Okay, I'm actually going to take that same brush, I'm going to flip it over and use the other side, and I'm going to use the sequin shade in that row. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dip into this shade and I'm going to spray the brush because this one has beautiful glitter in it. So I want that to stand out and show through. I'm going to start to layer this on the outer portion of the eyelid first, and I'm just going to use a tapping motion, again, just to make sure that we get some of those sparkles on the outer corner. But since we have a matte base with this shade, it's adding dimension at the same time, even though there is glitter in it. I'm just going to lightly start to take that same color and start to define the inner corner here. So we're kind of going backwards. Normally with a halo eye, it's common to start with the deeper shades, but I'm kind of reversing it so that I have a bit more control with these darker colors. I'm kind of creating a general shape. We're going to buff it out in just a minute, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. Spraying the brush and then just kind of building out that shape on the outer corner first. When it comes to doing a smoky eye, and I'll be honest, I don't use these dark of colors that often. They do intimidate me, but what I found to be pretty foolproof when it comes to any color that you're using is to keep the dark smokiness as close to the lash line as possible and make sure you leave enough space here to create that transition moving upward. I just got a little bit more on the brush for the inner corner on this side. I just felt like I ran out, so I'm just making sure to build that up. Okay, I'm actually wanting to try something. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna take a little bit of Aura and then I'm going to dip into just a tiny bit of Memory, which is the matte black shade. And I'm trying to create maybe some sort of a gray tone, so I'm tapping off the extra. We'll see how this goes. And I'm just gonna try to buff this along the edges of the shadows that we just applied. I'm taking my time and I'm being really gentle, and I'm making sure not to bring this up too high because I still want that warm tone transition moving up toward the brow. But hey, I think that worked actually. I haven't dipped back into the pan. I've just spent some time here just lightly buffing the edges. And I really actually do like how that looks. I might go back in and touch up some of the black on the outer corner, but let's just go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. I'm like barely touching my eyelid with this color, so I don't want any harsh lines. And I also don't want to wipe away any of the other existing shades along the edge. I just want to blend the color up into the other shadow underneath the brow. All right, now that we have a general shape, I'm actually taking a bit more of the sequin shade, which is what we used on this outer corner and inner corner. And I'm wanting to just layer that up a little bit more, especially on the outer corner, just to make sure we didn't lose that dimension. But again, I'm leaving the center kind of bare so that we can get a little bit more dimension in the center and create our halo eye. I'm gonna tap what's left on the inner corner. Okay, next we're gonna go into this shade right here, which is the Glitter Formula. I'm actually so excited to use this one. I'm gonna take just a small amount. Again, it's always easier to add more than it is to remove. So I'm starting off with just a little bit, and I'm focusing this in just the center of the lid. So I'm just gonna take my finger and kind of press down transferring the glitter onto the eyelid. This is so pretty. The glitter row in here, you guys, is honestly incredible. I seriously am so impressed with this formula, and it just amps up any eye look. That's the cool thing about this palette. Like, say you wanted to use a different palette for your mattes and your shimmers, you totally could, and then you can just grab a glitter from the palette that matches whatever eye look you have, and you can amp it up. Okay, before we move on, I'm gonna kind of assess the situation early as far as the eyes go, and I'm gonna buff away any glitter that got up too high. And I just want to make sure that everything looks blended. I know things look a little funny now, and sometimes it's easy to panic when your eye makeup looks like this, but this is where you just have to trust the process. I'm only looking at how I've blended on the top. I'm not looking at how everything else looks. We haven't added mascara yet, so things do look a little off balance, but I'm just trusting the process. And I'm saying this because if I'm feeling this way, I'm sure some of you guys sometimes feel this way when you're doing an eye look, which is totally normal. I'm just taking a cleaner brush and I'm buffing the edges, but I think I really like this. I'm gonna actually grab an eyeliner, which I don't actually use a lot of black eyeliner, but for a look like this, I feel like when you've got so many dark tones, it is good to kind of define the lash line a little bit. I'm gonna take the NYX Epic Ink Liner, which I just tried when I was filming the video trying out all of the drugstore makeup that you guys repurchase. I'll have that down below if you guys haven't seen it. And I was so impressed with this eyeliner, so I'm gonna use it again. Now, I don't want to overpower or cover up the halo eye situation, so I'm doing a very thin line from inner corner to outer corner, and I'm not even gonna wing it either. I really just wanna bring back some of the definition against the lash line with a little bit of a deeper color. Okay, I feel like that worked really well. I'm gonna soften that a little bit by taking a small eyeliner brush, and I'm gonna dip that into the matte black shade called Memory. I'm gonna tap off the extra, and I'm going to set the liquid liner with this black shadow. That way it's just gonna kind of soften that definition, and it's also going to set the eyeliner. Okay, I'm actually going to highlight the inner corner a little bit earlier than I normally do. And I'm just gonna take the same shade that we've been using. It's this one right here in the Aura row. This is a beautiful inner corner highlight. And I'm going to just pop that in the inner corner, obviously. I feel like this is really crucial when doing a smoky eye, especially one with like grays and blacks. Adding an inner corner highlight really helps to bring back life and light into your smoky eye. And I actually am going to curve this around the inner crease just to make sure, again, that it's not too dark in this inner corner here. I feel like this will really help clean things up and help it look really nice, and it will soften the look a little bit. I'm also going to take what's left on the brush and put it right here underneath the brow. Okay, this is where we kind of assess again. And I think that everything is how I want it to look. We're gonna go ahead and clean up the edges now with a makeup wipe. And the matte black shades definitely have a lot more fallout than the other shades in the palette. So I would definitely recommend doing your eyes first if you're planning on doing any smoky eye, but especially with tones this dark. We're just using that to kind of clean up the edge. And then once I've used the makeup wipe to kind of create this shape, I like to take my finger and just press everything down, just to make sure there's not a super harsh line with this dark eyeshadow. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. But I do kind of like a little bit more of a shape that I have going on here, so I am pressing it out, but I'm not trying to like round it or get rid of the shape. I just don't want there to be like a stark line between the eyeshadow and my skin. All right, we're gonna go ahead and apply some Top Lash mascara. I'm gonna do like 3 coats, maybe 4. I'm just gonna really load it up. And again, I'm just doing the top lashes right now. Because we did use a glitter shade, I really do feel like it helps when you're doing the rest of the face to control fallout. Okay, this is about 3 coats on the top lashes. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure there's no fallout anywhere else. I got a little bit of black shadow on my nose. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of the base like we've been doing off camera. We'll come back and finish up the lower lash line, and then we'll choose a lip color, and that'll be it. Okay, things are starting to come together after we've applied all the rest of the face makeup. I have one waterline done. I was trying out a navy blue eyeliner and I really like it. It's a little bit softer than a harsh black, but it's deep enough to kind of complement what we have going on. So that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this same eyeliner onto the other eye in the waterline. By the way, this is the Thrive Cosmetics eyeliner in the shade Talia. Like I said before, all of the products that I'm using and all of the looks will be listed and linked down below if you guys wanna know how I complete the looks. So I'm just layering this up until I get the intensity that I want. Okay, and then we're gonna kind of work backwards again, starting off with the metallic shade. I'm gonna take this on a brush, and I'm trying not to get any fallout, so I did actually pack a little bit more powder right here, just while we do this, so that if anything falls down, I can quickly wipe it away. So I'm gonna take a bit of the metallic shade, and I'm gonna start to apply this on the center of the eyelid just like we did on the top lid. We're kind of going to mimic the same halo eye effect that we have on the top on the lower lash line. And I'm not too concerned about making it perfect. I'm just wanting to kind of get the general shape first, and then we'll buff it out in a minute. Same thing on this eye. I am trying to get it pretty close to the lash line. And then once there's less product on the brush, I'm blending out the edges toward the outer corner and toward the inner corner. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off that brush. We're gonna deepen things up using the matte black. I'm not gonna use the sequin shade because I don't want too much fallout on the lower lash line, so I'm gonna take this instead. And I'm gonna make sure to tap off the extra. And I'm gonna use a pressing motion to pack on the color. And I'm gonna connect it to the existing shadows on the outer corner. And then I'm going to kind of go back and forth and buff it a little bit. And I'm going to take what's left on the brush and apply it to the inner corner to create that dimension there. I'm trying not to buff it down too far on the inner corner here. On the outer corner it's fine, and I feel like it helps to kind of open the eyes up, but since we're doing such a dark color, I'm trying to keep it pretty precise in that inner portion. Alright, same thing on this side. Pressing it instead of buffing so that we can avoid as much fallout as possible. Connecting it to the existing shades here, and then kind of buffing it into the metallic shade, and then taking what's left and defining this inner corner a little bit. Alright, we're going to go ahead and warm up the lower lash line a little bit. I'm going to take the matte shade called Soothe, and I'm going to tap off the extra on a little bit of a fluffier, precise brush. And I'm going to take this right at the edge of the dark shade across the entire lower lash line, and I'm going to start to just buff everything out and down. So that way we have a bit of a transition going into the rest of the skin, so it's not so much of a stark line. And I also think it's just going to help kind of warm things up a little bit. See how it just kind of creates a nice transition back into the skin? I really like that. I'm kind of taking it underneath this edge here as well, so that there's not too much of a harshness there. But again, I do kind of like that shape, so I'm leaving it, but I am bringing a little bit of the brown up underneath to kind of help it transition into the skin there as well. Okay, I think that's as much as I want to do on the lower lash line. So I'm going to go ahead and take my mascara. Where is it? Here it is. And I'm going to apply some lower lash mascara. And I'm kind of applying a little bit more than I normally would on the lower lashes if I was doing this with another color, just because I feel like the contrast really helps the eyeshadow to make sense on the eyes. And this is not a natural looking eye look. This is definitely more of a bold statement, so I'm going to complement that with a nice bold lower lash line. Okay, I did get some mascara marks on the lower lashes, but that's okay. We're just gonna leave it as is. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of assess the situation a little bit right now. I'm just adding a little bit more of what's left on my bronzer brush. And now we're gonna go ahead and choose a lip color. You'll notice that I kept everything pretty soft on the face. And if you didn't, that's what I was trying to do, because with a smoky eye like this is definitely the statement. This is the focal point, and it's so loud, so to speak, that I want to keep everything else pretty muted. So even with the lip color, we're gonna go with something pretty soft. My chair keeps squeaking. Sorry about that. Okay, I think for lip liner, I'm going to apply the Thrive Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Jessie. This is one of my lightest lip liners, and I just really want the lip color to be pretty muted. So I'm going to start by lining and filling in the lips with this. Yeah, I really do love this lip liner for situations like this. Okay, we're going to try this out. This is the Marc Jacobs Sugar Sugar Hydrating Lip Gloss Stick. I just feel like it might be good for this look. So I'm going to pop that right on top and then press it into the lips to combine. Okay, I actually love that lip combo. I think it really complements the cheeks, but again, it's really light and really soft. So we're just gonna do a couple more things. I'm gonna take a bit more of this shade, and I'm just going to apply a little bit more of that into the inner corner to really brighten things up. And I'm also gonna drag a little bit right here just to connect the dark shade in that inner corner. And then I'm gonna set the face. I just realized I totally forgot to dust away the extra powder under the eyes, but I already used setting spray. So now we just have a nice extra bright baked under eye, which is fine, especially since we have a dark shadow look going on. It's always good to have a little bit of a brighter under eye to counteract any dark circles underneath the eyes, which a lot of times purple and black eyeshadows can kind of emphasize. And as my final step, I'm just going to set the brows with some clear brow gel. Alright you guys, so that completes this third and final makeup look using the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals looks. If you guys want to see a look of me using some of these purple tones, I will link the video where I have my initial review. I used a lot of those colors, so if you're wanting to see some of those tones in action, I will have that video down below. Let me know if there's more looks that you would like to see from this palette, because I would love to continue to create looks with this as long as you guys want to see it. So let me know if you would like to see more, and if there's certain colors that you would like to see me use a little bit more with this palette. I'm happy to make more tutorials, so just let me know. I must say, this smoky eye definitely turned out way better than I had anticipated, so if you are like me and you were a little bit intimidated by that row, just practice it a little bit and really take your time, because I honestly really love it, and I feel like the glitter especially makes it so much more glam and so much more wearable. I honestly enjoyed all 3 looks today. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite look was, if you had one. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays when I upload, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it from me today. I really enjoyed filming this video, even though it took me like 4 hours to do. But I hope you guys found it helpful, and I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!